The vast expanse of space held its breath as the sleek diplomatic vessel Meridian Dawn glided through the star-speckled void. Ambassador Julian Reed stood at the bridge's viewport, his weathered face reflecting off the reinforced glass as he watched the approaching Mariax border station. After 30 years in diplomatic service, he knew the delicate dance of interstellar politics all too well. Yet something about this meeting felt different. "Ambassador, we're receiving the docking protocols from the Mariax station," Lieutenant Hannah Morris announced from her console, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "They're unusual, sir." Julian turned, his silver-streaked hair catching the soft light of the bridge. "Unusual how, Lieutenant?" "They're requesting we power down our primary systems before docking. That's not standard procedure, even for the Mariax." The ambassador's eyes narrowed slightly. The Mariax Empire, known for their rigid adherence to protocol, never deviated from established procedures. In his gut, Julian felt the familiar tension that had saved his life more than once during his career. "Maintain current power levels, Lieutenant. Inform them we'll follow standard Earth diplomatic protocols." Before Hannah could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flooded the bridge in crimson as multiple Mariax warships materialized from quantum space, their sleek, predatory forms surrounding the Meridian Dawn in a perfect ambush formation. Multiple weapon locks detected. Hannah's voice remained steady despite the situation. "They're deploying boarding pods." Julian straightened his diplomatic uniform, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Right on schedule. Lieutenant Morris, initiate Protocol Omega." Hannah's eyes widened. "Sir, that's a direct violation of the diplomatic accords." "The accords were violated the moment they surrounded us, Lieutenant. Execute the protocol." Throughout the ship, hidden compartments slid open, revealing advanced weapon systems that no diplomatic vessel should possess. The Meridian Dawn's innocent exterior had always been a carefully crafted deception. The first Mariax boarding pod punctured the hull, and heavily armed soldiers poured onto the ship. Their commander, Nexus Thorn, led the charge, his iridescent armor gleaming under the emergency lights. The Mariax were humanoid, but their silver-scaled skin and phosphorescent eyes marked them as distinctly alien. "Secure the bridge," Thorn ordered, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into standard English. "The human ambassador must be taken alive." As they approached the bridge, Julian calmly sat in his command chair. Hannah stood at attention beside him, both of them appearing completely at ease despite the sounds of combat growing closer. The bridge doors exploded inward, and Mariax soldiers flooded the room, their weapons trained on the two humans. Commander Thorn strode in, his posture radiating confidence. "Ambassador Reed." Thorn's mandibles clicked in amusement. "The Mariax Empire sends its regards. You will come with us." Julian smiled, the expression never reaching his eyes. "Commander Thorn, I assume. Before we proceed, I should inform you that you've made 3 critical mistakes today." Thorn's phosphorescent eyes narrowed. "And what might those be, human?" "First, you assumed this was a diplomatic vessel. Second, you believed we were unprepared for this scenario." Julian's smile widened as distant explosions rocked the station. "And third, you thought we were alone." The viewport erupted with light as Earth's 7th Fleet dropped out of quantum space, led by the massive dreadnought, Humanity's Resolve. The Mariax ships, caught completely off guard, scrambled to respond. "You see, Commander," Julian continued, rising from his chair, "this isn't a kidnapping. It's a trap. One your empire walked right into. Lieutenant Morris, if you would." Hannah activated her neural link, and suddenly the bridge's lights shifted to combat configuration. Hidden defense turrets emerged from the ceiling, targeting the Mariax soldiers with lethal precision. "Humanity doesn't negotiate with those who threaten us," Julian declared, his diplomatic demeanor giving way to steel. "We prepare, we adapt, and when necessary, we strike first." The space around them erupted into chaos as Earth's fleet engaged the Mariax ships. The opening moves of a long-planned operation were finally in motion, and the Mariax Empire was about to learn why humanity had survived countless attempts at conquest. The game of diplomatic deception was over. Now, the real battle would begin. Fleet Admiral Diana Blackwood stood on the command deck of Humanity's Resolve, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display as Earth's 7th Fleet engaged the Mariax forces. The massive dreadnought hummed with power beneath her feet, its advanced weapon systems already calculating firing solutions. "All ships report ready, Admiral," Captain Marcus Wong announced from his station. "The Mariax fleet is in disarray, just as predicted." Diana allowed herself a small nod of satisfaction. The trap had worked perfectly, thanks to months of careful planning and Ambassador Reed's willingness to play his part. The Mariax Empire had grown too bold, too confident in their supposed superiority. That ended today. "Launch Strike Pattern Delta," she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of command. "Target their command and control systems first. Let's show them what humanity's been holding back." The space between the fleets lit up as Earth's ships unleashed their full arsenal. Quantum torpedoes phased through Mariax shields, while graviton beams twisted their hull plating like paper. This wasn't the defensive technology humanity usually displayed. This was the cutting edge, developed in secret for precisely this moment. Aboard the Meridian Dawn, Ambassador Reed and Lieutenant Morris had already subdued the Mariax boarding party. Commander Thorne lay bound, his phosphorescent eyes wide with disbelief as he watched his fleet being systematically dismantled. "Impossible," he whispered. "Your species. You were supposed to be diplomatic. Peaceful." Julian checked his neural link readout, monitoring the battle's progress. "We are peaceful, Commander, right up until someone mistakes that peace for weakness." The Mariax Empire should have studied Earth's history more carefully. The dreadnought's main cannon fired, its quantum cascade beam cutting through 3 Mariax cruisers in a single shot. The Empire's supposedly impenetrable shields might as well have been tissue paper against humanity's true military capabilities. "Admiral," Captain Wong called out, "we're detecting quantum signatures. The Mariax are calling for reinforcements." Diana's lips curved into a predatory smile. "Right on schedule. Signal the 2nd and 3rd fleets to begin Phase 2. It's time to show the Empire why you don't corner a species that turned their own planet into a survival game." Across multiple star systems, hidden human fleets emerged from quantum space. The Mariax Empire had thought they were launching a simple kidnapping operation. Instead, they had triggered humanity's most elaborate military operation to date. Lieutenant Morris's voice came through the command channel. "Admiral, Ambassador Reed reports that Commander Thorne is secure. The Meridian Dawn is ready to proceed with Phase 2. "Excellent." Diana turned to her tactical officer. "Deploy the quantum net. Let's make sure none of them warn the Empire about what's coming." A web of quantum energy spread between Earth's ships, creating a barrier that prevented both escape and communication. The Mariax reinforcements would arrive to find their advance fleet already defeated, with no idea what they were truly facing. "You know," Julian told the captured Commander Thorne, "your Empire's greatest mistake wasn't trying to kidnap me. It was assuming that humanity's diplomatic nature meant we weren't prepared for war. We've spent centuries fighting ourselves, Commander. Did you really think we wouldn't be ready for you?" The battle continued to unfold with mechanical precision. Every move the Mariax made had been predicted, every counter already planned for. This wasn't just a military operation. It was the culmination of years of strategic planning, a chess game where humanity had already seen 20 moves ahead. As the last Mariax ship in the initial fleet fell silent, Diana opened a channel to all Earth vessels. "Phase 1 complete. Prepare for Phase 2. Today, we don't just defend ourselves. Today, we show the galaxy why humanity's peace should never be mistaken for vulnerability." The real war was about to begin, and the Mariax Empire was about to learn just how costly their miscalculation had become. Deep within the secure command center of the Humanities Resolve, Admiral Blackwood assembled her key officers for the revelation that would change the course of the war. The room's quantum-shielded walls ensured absolute privacy as holographic displays showed the ongoing battle outside. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "what you're about to learn has been classified at the highest levels. Protocol Omega isn't just a defensive measure. It's humanity's answer to a question we've been asking since we first reached the stars. How do we survive in a galaxy that might want us dead?" Captain Wong and the other officers leaned forward as Diana activated the central hologram, revealing a vast network of hidden military installations, sleeping fleets, and weapon platforms that had been concealed throughout human space and beyond. For the past 50 years, every diplomatic mission, every trade agreement, every cultural exchange has been part of a larger strategy. While we preached peace, we prepared for war on a scale the galaxy has never seen. The hologram shifted to show the true extent of humanity's military capability. Quantum weaponry that could unravel the fabric of space itself, ships that could phase through solid matter, defense systems that turned the laws of physics into weapons. The Mariax Empire chose us because they thought we were the weakest of the major powers, Diana continued. They never realized that our diplomatic course was gathering intelligence, our merchants were positioning assets, and our cultural attaches were mapping their weaknesses. Aboard the Meridian Dawn, Ambassador Reed was explaining similar revelations to the captured Commander Thorne. Every human ship that entered your space was scanning your technology, analyzing your tactics, and probing your defenses. We knew you would try something like this eventually. We just had to wait for the right moment. Thorne's phosphorescent eyes dimmed with growing horror as he understood the true scope of humanity's deception. "Your entire species. You've been playing us all along." "Playing everyone," Julian corrected. "Humanity learned long ago that the best way to win a war is to have already won it before the first shot is fired. Protocol Omega isn't just a military response, it's the activation of a strategy decades in the making." Back in the command center, Diana revealed the final piece of the plan. "The quantum net we deployed isn't just for containing their forces. It's part of a larger grid that's been secretly installed throughout Mariax space. With a single command, we can shut down their quantum drive capabilities across their entire empire." Lieutenant Morris, monitoring the tactical displays, reported in. "Admiral, Mariax reinforcements are arriving. 3 full battle groups. No, 5. They're deploying in attack formation." Diana's expression remained calm. "Execute Protocol Omega. Final phase. Let's show them what humanity's really capable of." Across Mariax space, hidden quantum beacons activated. The Empire's mighty fleets suddenly found themselves unable to engage their faster-than-light drives. Their communication networks, infiltrated years ago by seemingly harmless human cultural exchange programs, began to shut down. "You see, Commander Thorne," Julian explained as they watched the chaos unfold, "humanity didn't just prepare for a fight. We prepared to end any fight before it truly began. Your empire's military might is impressive, but we've spent centuries perfecting the art of war against ourselves. Did you really think we wouldn't be ready for an external threat?" The Mariax reinforcement fleet, cut off from their command structure and unable to retreat, found themselves facing not just the human ships they could see, but an entire hidden infrastructure of automated defense platforms and phantom fleets that had been waiting silently for this moment. Protocol Omega wasn't just a defensive protocol. It was humanity's declaration that the era of playing weak and diplomatic was over. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth's history of constant warfare hadn't broken humanity, but had instead forged them into something far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The Mariax Imperial Palace shimmered like a silver mountain against the purple sky of their homeworld, Meridia Prime. Inside its crystalline halls, Emperor Varix received the reports of his empire's collapse with growing despair. System after system had gone dark, their mighty fleets reduced to drifting hulks by humanity's hidden weapons. "Impossible," he whispered, his scaled hands trembling as he watched the tactical displays. "How could they have prepared all of this without our knowledge?" On the bridge of humanity's resolve, Admiral Diana Blackwood orchestrated the final movements of their master plan. The combined Earth fleets had systematically disabled every major Mariax military installation across 3 sectors of space, not through brute force, but through years of carefully planted backdoors and hidden weaknesses. "Admiral," Captain Wong reported, "the quantum suppression field is holding. 87% of Mariax military assets are now neutralized. Their remaining forces are scattered and isolated." Diana nodded, her expression stern but satisfied. "Open a channel to their imperial palace. It's time to end this." Ambassador Julian Reed, now aboard the flagship, stepped forward to deliver humanity's terms. The holographic transmission projected his image into the imperial throne room, where Emperor Varix and his court watched with a mixture of fear and disbelief. "Emperor Varix," Julian began, his diplomatic tone carrying an edge of steel, "your empire's attempt to kidnap a human diplomat has triggered a response you clearly didn't anticipate. But then again, that was always the point." The emperor rose from his throne, his phosphorescent eyes blazing. "What do you want, human? To humiliate us? To destroy everything we've built?" "No, Emperor, we want to educate you. Humanity has spent its entire history fighting, adapting, and surviving. When we reached the stars, we didn't abandon those skills. We perfected them. Every trade deal, every cultural exchange, every diplomatic mission carried pieces of a puzzle you never saw forming." Lieutenant Morris's voice cut through the command channel. "Admiral, the final quantum matrices are in position. We have total control over their military infrastructure." Diana stepped into view of the transmission. "Your empire had a choice, Emperor. You could have embraced genuine cooperation. Instead, you saw our diplomatic overtures as weakness. That mistake ends today." From his restraints aboard the Meridian Dawn, Commander Thorne watched through the viewport as humanity's true military might reveal itself. Hidden defense platforms emerged from quantum storage throughout Mariax space, their weapons trained on every major military installation. "The terms are simple," Julian continued. "The Mariax Empire will undergo immediate demilitarization. Your quantum drive technology will be restricted to civilian use only, under human supervision. Your military will be disbanded, and your government will accept human advisors to oversee your transition to a peaceful member of the galactic community." Emperor Varix sank back onto his throne, the weight of defeat evident in his posture. "And if we refuse?" "There is no refusing, Emperor," Diana replied. "The weapons we've revealed are just a fraction of our capabilities. We've spent centuries preparing for every possible scenario. Your empire's military power now exists only because we allow it to." Throughout Mariax space, the empire's mighty warships powered down one by one, their crews receiving the news of their absolute defeat. The species that they had dismissed as diplomatic weaklings had outmaneuvered them so completely that resistance wasn't even possible. "Remember this day," Julian addressed not just the Emperor but the entire Mariax civilization through their own communication networks. "Remember that humanity chose to end this without destruction. We could have annihilated your empire, but we prefer to teach rather than destroy. Learn from this. Grow from this. But never again mistake our preference for peace as an inability to wage war." As the terms of surrender were formalized, Diana turned to her bridge crew. "Send word to Earth. Operation Omega is complete. The galaxy now understands that humanity's diplomatic nature isn't a sign of weakness. It's a choice we make every day, knowing we can unmake it just as easily." Commander Thorne, watching the proceedings, finally understood the true lesson of this conflict. Humanity hadn't just defeated the Mariax Empire. They had changed the galaxy's entire perception of Earth. Their reputation for diplomacy and peace would no longer be seen as vulnerability, but as tremendous restraint. The stars seemed to shine differently now, as the galaxy adjusted to its new reality. Humanity had revealed itself not as one more species to be conquered, but as a sleeping giant that had been preparing for this moment since they first looked up at the stars and wondered what waited for them there. Peace would return to the galaxy, but it would be a different kind of peace, one built on the understanding that humanity's diplomatic overtures were not the behavior of the weak, but the mercy of the strong.